Good morning. Everything's a little draggy. I'm a little concerned. I'm not going to lie. I feel like we grabbed the 14-4. If you know what I mean when I say 14-4, welcome and tell your grandparents I said hello. It is Monday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day, Puxatawny Phil. We've been to Gobbler's Knob. I know it sounds like an adult program. It's not. This is for the kids. Gobbler's Knob is in Puxatawny, which is a reserve. I don't know. I'm all over the place right now. But we brought the boys. We've got a picture of them. It is underwhelming based on the pomp and circumstance that you see. With everybody dressed up with their top hats. If you were watching the news this morning or caught any of it this morning, I know you don't watch the news. You're checking your phone. You'll see what I mean. But he or she. Somebody mentioned she. Is it? Do they rotate? Is it a Philip one year and a Philomena the next year? Puxatawny Phil.
The girl named Phil.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Anyway, shadows seen, 6 more weeks of winter. No one should be shocked. Pedro and I were talking about the fact that we could see just above freezing this week. There's your weather for the day. We are into it. It is Groundhog Day. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. You are DTD2ing. Do the database too. You want to call your C's and your K's. Text your I's. As we leave here, the Kate Grassy is going to lead us in a conversation with Ignite Session 12. That is strengthening relationships. You can do that at kellerignite.com. That's at 9. Our in-house study session that we also call Fight Club, that is at 9 o'clock. You can go to KWFightClub.com. Cameras on, microphones off. I don't know what you're doing, whether you're making calls, sending texts, working on social media, licking stamps, stuffing envelopes. And I know I sound dated when I say licking stamps. Some people still lick them. If you have stamps from years gone by, they're still lickable, even though most of them are sticky. And they're 75 cents. So if that doesn't remind you that it's probably the best idea in the world to make sure that what you're sending out is of value and you're not just yeeting letters all over the place at 75 cents a pop, just a thought. We don't want to make it cost prohibitive. We want to make it positive for everyone. So whatever you're doing for lead gen, whatever you're doing for interactions, you'll hear me start to say that rather than conversations. Interactions are important. What are you doing to induce the conversation so people remember you're in real estate? So when they become transactional, every 7 to 10 years, they come back to you. That's what we're doing in Fight Club. That's what that's all about. Monday through Friday, 9 to 11. KWFightClub.com. Today at 11 o'clock, Proven Cappers Mastermind. Once a capper, always a capper. We're going to get together. We do it once a month. You'll come to timsoffice.com. We'll have a conversation about what's going on. I've got some questions for those of you that will be joining me, and I'll send that off via text because everyone loves Call Multiplier. I actually had somebody punch out last week. So let me say this concerning that. If you tell the tool that we're using, Call Multiplier, that you don't want to play anymore, there's no way to get you back. You can't be like, oh, I messed up. I'll text Timmy and tell him to add me back to the list. I can't do it. You have to go to like callmultiplier.com university and talk to them. So I appreciate that you're annoyed that the company in which you decided to come play with might tap you on the shoulder too much to remind you of all the things that we have going on. I'm just going to ask you, is the text coming from me today at like 12:30 to remind you about Midday Protocol? Is that sitting in betwixt? That'll be on the quiz later. Is that sitting in betwixt like 15 Bed Bath & Beyond texts? That might be. So if you're not mad at them, I'd ask you to not be mad at me. And for those of you that have hung on, because I know I text incessantly, we just want people to dive in, lean in, get your work done. Have the career you were looking for. So that's coming up. Midday Protocol follows that. That's when we're going to talk about your interactions, your appointments, and your contracts. And that's at 1 o'clock at timsoffice.com. Ask the Brokers. D. Jason Westcott will lead that conversation. KellerTV.com. That's at 1:30. That's like when you were in university and your professor was like, yeah, I'll just be around. The door will be open. That's really what that is. Stuff that came up over the weekend, things you're confused about, a burning question you can't wait until Wednesday for. And you never have to really do that. Brokers are available to you 7 days a week, but joining us on Monday at 1:30 is probably a best practice. Tech your business to the next level with the Maggie McDowell. She's our regional tech trainer. That's at 2:30. The link to register for that is in the morning news. And then at 3 o'clock, the Tiffany Hampton, phenomenal maps coach. She has 25 and 26. You can register for that conversation. The link for that is also in the morning news. So there's your Monday. I just read you a list of things longer than what most brokerages will do in February because there's only 28 days. And they're probably like, you know what, short month, we won't do anything. We'll just see if anybody gets yelled at. And then if we do, we'll have contracts. That's the plan for most brokerages. So if you're here and you're overwhelmed by the amount of texts or how many things there are available on Monday, you asked for it. If we ever underwhelm you, we're doing something wrong. Speaking of underwhelming, Pedro's here. We were just talking about his trip to Nebraska. We're going to get into that. But I'm going to lead off with, it's Groundhog Day, Pedro. What do you not want to repeat in your business that has maybe snuck up on you? You know, every year you're like, you know what? I'm going to avoid this year. I'm going to start doing it this way. Or I'm not going to let that happen again. And somehow it creeps in.
Oh, wow. Dropping bombs. Wow.
You're like, wait a minute. I've got a list. I'll be right back. I left it in the kitchen.
Yeah. I think my main goal is this year is the things in the last couple of years that have been working well to stay consistent with. And so I don't want to get back into the habit of, oh, I just had a good run. This first quarter's been great. Let me take my foot off the gas. And I think when it goes to what you were talking about the text you send out at, what's it, at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, or whatever
12:30 to remind everybody. Sure, yeah.
I don't necessarily always jump into what the text is about, but it is always a good reminder of where I'm at in the day and am I on track. I use it almost as a timer, but I need to set up little things in my day, in my week, in my month to that I have as benchmarks and like, where am I at? Checks and balances.
I appreciate you saying that. I've had a few other people saying, I can't make it every day. And here's the thing. Fight Club is not meant to be, and if you're doing it every day, keep coming every day. That would be great. Fight Club's not designed to be something that people are going to every day. Life comes up and things happen. I completely appreciate attendance is going to be what it's going to be. Same thing with Midday Protocol. But I've had a few other agents say what you just said, Pete. If nothing else, when I get that somewhere between 12:30 and 12:44, I get that text. I'm like, oh, we're here. It's the midday. Like, what have I done? Because if you're sitting there, and if you are, it's cold out. I appreciate it. If you're making pancakes with mittens and it's 12:15, have a nice little Monday for yourself. But if your intention was to do something different, and you talked about what has snuck up on you, Pedro, inconsistency, and it sneaks up on all of us, because it's just you get into a rhythm. The great Mark King once said, and I'm sure it's stolen. I'm not taking credit away from him, but I trust most of the great quotes were borrowed from somebody else. Mark King once said, what is it that we used to do so well that we just stopped doing it? Like we all finally built the discipline to hold the habit, and we got this thing cranking away. And then for whatever reason, we just get away from it because we trust that it will keep itself going. And there's maybe a leverage conversation in there too. Like, what are the things that don't keep going because we're away that maybe we could put another tool, system, or relationship in place to keep it going? As a solo artist. Yeah, but as a solo artist, what's something that you've put into place to have something managed on your behalf when you're doing other things?
Well, I think, what do we call them? Drips, or we call them campaigns now, or whatever they're called now.
Yep.
If I didn't have that continuing conversations for me throughout the days, the weeks, the months, again, I'd be cold calling every person that I know every time. But using my CRM, and again, I can be better at that too. There's things to add there, but that gives me a good start to the day because it's already been working. And then now I'm just doing follow up. I'm not doing the hunting.
Yeah. If we're everybody's got different CRMs, and speaking on behalf of Nate, I won't say Gary. Gary would probably agree with me, but I won't say it because I know he wants you to use command. I can say that Nate feels the same way that I feel. We're happy that you open any CRM. Whichever one you're willing to open every day and use is the one that we're happy that you're using. So within command, campaign is something that's going to keep going. Campaign is date driven. I apologize. So a campaign would be something for an event that's going to happen, then it's going to stop. Where a smart plan would be sort of a push and go. And it's not ad infinitum. It's going to be something that's going to run out for like a 36 connect or something like that. So if somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, what is a smart plan? What is a campaign? There's the differentiation. For you, you just said, ironically, we were about to talk about our dear friends. They're not our dear friends. They don't know who we are, but we're raving fans. There's a great YouTube channel called No Laying Up. And we both noticed over the weekend, they just did a whole story. They go out and golf all over the country, all over the world. And they just did a thing about Nebraska. Now you're headed to Nebraska. So what's happening in Nebraska? When is that?
In May, I'm going to go to Nebraska for my second time going to the KW commercial retreat, where it's only 60 agents that go out to a remote location. We can't get distracted by the big lights of Vegas or
Hmm.
Atlanta or wherever
Hmm.
else we go. We're there. There is some educational components to it, some killer speakers, some really good stuff to learn, but the majority of it is networking and building a big referral base with some top excuse me, performing commercial agents.
So are you guys gonna be like on a ranch? Like what's
um,
happening?
this is the Arbor Day farm where yeah, it's a hotel resort. Last time I went was in West Virginia at the
Mm,
Greenbrier in the
mm.
middle of nowhere. Um, and there was skeet shooting last time. There was pickleball. There was um, like a hiking tour. So I'm not sure what the event's going to come up to bond us all together, but they're definitely quite unique situations. And it definitely, when I went to West Virginia, really helped with growing my business and my referral business. And I'm excited to go back.
So it's maxed at 60.
Yeah.
How do you sneak into that?
Uh, it to be honest with you, just the same way you do anything in the office, be involved, and people see that your interest, your intensity, and your drive, and you get an invite.
Yep.
I wasn't sitting at home on the couch. Going to the commercial summit, which is in Austin,
Yep.
and being involved there, and when I go to family reunion or mega camp, make sure that I'm getting involved with the commercial people there and be present and be a contributor. And then that's how you get tapped.
You and I have often talked about going to these national events, whether it's mega or family or commercial retreats, commercial summits, anything like that. It's rare. I mean, I'm real big on locking in on the quotes. Like Kaylee's always amazed that I take zero notes, but I'll quote Gary from 7 years ago. Um, that stuff always sticks with me because I sort of feel, not sort of, I definitely feel it's my duty to remember that kind of stuff and then come back and regurgitate it over the next 6 months until we go to mega, so forth and so on. That's sort of my job, to be the messenger. For you, and you've said this before, but I want you to reiterate it because I think some people might be going to Atlanta for their first big trip in a few weeks, and their focus might. And I'm not saying anyone's focus is the wrong focus. Whatever you decide that you're zoned in on is probably important to your business. But after leaving the first or second or third, however long it took for you, what definitely became the most predominant thing that was most important for you to do when you were there? Not that you're like missing the sessions or anything like that, but like you go and do all the things. And what was the most value and what's continued to be the most valuable for you if I'm going for the first time?
It's the networking, and 100%. Not to take away from the other items that are presented, for sure.
Mm.
I do find that being in those classes, I think, and not to toot your horn, Timmy, you already took a couple jabs at me, but I find a lot of times
I
when we're
said
in those classes,
underwhelming once. Listen,
yeah,
go ahead.
when we're in those classes, I would say a good 80% of it is just reminders of what we've already learned, which is important.
Mm.
And the market center and you put it out there pretty well, or maps coaches. The message is consistent. So the reminder is good, but the networking by far has helped elevate my business in the direction I want to go, and many levels, not just GCI. It's not
Sure.
just rated in that, but there's a lot out there. And just be purposeful when you're out there meeting people and talking to people. And if you're just going to have dinner with everybody in our market center, instead of jumping around meeting new people, then I think there's lost opportunity.
Yeah, like make sure that well, this is just like even when we're home and you go to a board event, and sometimes all of our kids will be like, okay, we're going to the board event. And then they go to the board event and they all grab like three high top tables with each other rather
Yeah.
than meet the rest of the brokers on the seacoast. And for that matter, I know I've said a million times, I'd love for people to do the homework assignment of, do you have a good broker relationship in all 50 states? Right. And I know when I say that, some people are like, well, California's big. I need more than one person. Yeah, but if I meet Pete Metch in Santa Cruz, he knows somebody in Big Bear, somebody in LA, right? So forth and so on. So this is a great opportunity to do that. Now, you're probably going to have, arguably, you'll probably have more people from the East Coast in Atlanta than from the West Coast, because some people will
which is
mentally,
fine.
people will mentally punch out because they feel like it's a long flight. But you're
It
still going to
beca-
meet a whole
and
bunch of
I think
people that
that's
you wouldn't normally meet.
Yeah, but and that's still great. Even the regional events, just the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that Nate and Jen and Matt have put on in the years of that networking, those opportunities to network, like that coming up in Foxborough, coming up like that.
Yep.
That is keep people, just because they're in Massachusetts doesn't mean they're crossing the New Hampshire border, and
Yep.
there's plenty of opportunity for sure.
Yeah. It's a great
And
point. I
I,
remember. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and in those times, meeting these people and connecting with people, that's where I have found my accountability partner, where I found my script partner. I enjoy having those key people in my business not being our market center, because that again, that just brings more referrals flowing each way.
Yeah. You make a great point. I remember a handful of years ago, my MAPS coach for productivity coaching, which they call a productivity coach, I suppose, which is ridiculous. Anyway, turned out to be Tammy Richard, who is Mark Richard's better half. They're right up in Greater Portland. And I remember getting the assignment, and only for the fact that I don't know if my other person, I forget the reason we were switching up, but we were switching up. And I got her name, and I adore her. And as soon as the call started, I said, Tammy, if I'm being honest, I'm sort of shocked that they matched us up. And she goes, well, tell me more about that. And I said, well, you're right up the street. Like you're right up the street. Like if I needed you, you're right up the street. She goes, I am, and yet you haven't. And I was like, oh, right. I mean, I think we get in our own heads. Like, why would I need Tammy Richard? She's right up the street. I could call her. She's in my phone. We're good friends. So, and she just dope slapped me. Of course she did, because she's brilliant. And she said that, and that to your earlier point about like, okay, you're going to go to a New England event or a board event. Well, I see these people all the time, but when's the last time you had a conversation? Right? Or you've seen or the Raz is set because like, well, no, I see Pete all the time. No, you're a broker at another company and you've driven past his sign. You know of him. Right. You've seen each other in passing. There hasn't been an honest conversation. There hasn't been any passing of best practices or anything like that. So, it's a great opportunity to go to stuff like that. Anything you can make. If you can't make mega or family, and everything is spaced out. Spring masterminds, fall masterminds, they're all spaced out to grab you almost every 90 days, quite honestly. Usually when you're ready to have some wind put back in your sails. If you can't make the big national stuff for whatever reason, I would encourage you. There's probably still a few seats left for Phil M. Jones. That's for sure. That's going to be a great opportunity to meet a super cool venue. We might get to watch them hang something at that point. No, it'll already be hung. Well, they won't. I guess it'll be covered.
No,
it would be hung and covered. Yes. But anyway, a lot of cool stuff could be going on. He's a great speaker. It's a fantastic book. And there's 2 books. Not that he hasn't written more, but he does have exactly what to say, then exactly what to say for realtors. When it comes to that book, or I guess what are you reading or what have you read most recently that has affected the way you communicate with your clients?
Oh, hands down, Selling Buildings by Bob Knakal.
Spell Knakal? Is it KN or N?
Wrong guy.
You don't know.
Wrong guy.
Wrong guy.
Look up the biggest GCI in New York City history. Bob Knakal will come up.
Okay.
But he does this proof stacking of at the end of every transaction. It's a 1-pager of a few different things. What was the intent of the transaction? What were the struggles? And there's a couple other things. And I've been doing that now for a few quarters, and being able to rely back on that to, if I'm struggling in a transaction or if I'm having success and I'm outpacing myself somehow, it keeps me grounded. It keeps a historical record. Selling Buildings by Bob Knakal for me is what, the one that has changed in the most recent time for me.
We were talking earlier because next time I see you, this will all be behind us. Before we came on, we were talking about what our plan is for Sunday. So you're coming back. You have a toboggan championship that you and the boy are doing. So you'll be back in the house just in time to watch the game, which I said is a blessing because you'll be preoccupied with something else all day. Because we're inside the 168 hours of I want to vomit in my shoes right now. If you're a fan, I suppose.
I feel like I'm a kid right before Christmas. You know what I mean? Leading up for the week before Christmas. No teacher, nobody's gonna keep me, on track because of the Super Bowl coming up. So luckily, I do have 3 days of a toboggan championship that's gonna keep me distracted.
Can I get a score prediction out of you?
Ooh. I do believe I'm bucking Vegas, as I tend to, which I tend to lose a lot when I buck Vegas. But
they're historically pretty close. Yes,
I don't have necessarily a score, but I do believe the Patriots are gonna be +7.
Win by 7,
at least.
Okay, I love that. I'd love to live in a world where we can win by more than 3 or 2 or 1.
Right.
Just breathe. Just keep breathing. All right. If someone needs to get a hold of you for referral purposes or find out more about commercial, they can call you at 339. After that, I completely forget the rest of the number. I just know the bat number starts with 339.
Yeah, 339-224-0912.
Perfect. All right, Pedro. Appreciate it. I'll see you on the other side of a great day next Sunday. Or this. God, it's this Sunday. It's this Sunday. Stay warm. Take care.
Have a great week.
Bye.
All right.